What's up? What's up? What's up, party people? It's your man, Stephen Bardo, coming back at you with another edition of Bardo's Breakdown. I know it's been a while, y'all, but I had to crank it back up. Want to get it going again. Hope all's well. Hope everybody's doing well. A couple topics I wanted to discuss today. Big Daddy Bates, what's happening? Tony Allen, 1906, what's good? A couple things I would like to discuss today as things are starting to shake up around college athletics. We're seeing now Texas and Oklahoma saying hello to the SEC conference, the Southeastern Conference, and saying goodbye to the Big 12. There's been talk about this in years past. What's up, Kenny Williams, Tina Strong? Good to see you. Mark Steele, Scully 53 was good. There's been talk about conference realignment for years. There was some talk, I think it was about eight or 10 years ago, where the Big Ten might be trying to reach down into Georgia Tech and Miami because they wanted a Southeastern presence. But that didn't come to fruition. We'd heard Texas and Oklahoma maybe around that same time talking about going to the Pac-12. I don't know if you guys remember that. She's got a show. What's going on? Keisha, that's my neighbor, y'all. Go check out. She's got a show on IG. She does her thing. This movement has really upset some people. I've seen Twitter comments and IG comments and Facebook comments about people who are in my industry, who are in college sports, who are, sick to their stomach about what's happening. And it's like, why is anybody sick to their stomach? This is college athletics. It's a freaking business. It always has been, always will be. Why? And I don't get it. We get this nostalgic, unrealistic view of what college athletics is. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a business. So if Oklahoma and Texas say, you know what, we are not satisfied with the dominance and the dollars that we generate for the Big 12 conference, we are lopsided in terms of our contribution compared to other schools' contribution. So if they're looking at the next best opportunity based on the NCAA, what's happening with the NCAA, things are shifting now. The cat's out of the bag. Meredith Evans, good to see you. Wollston Home, 2002, good to see you. 2H Cam was good. Pierre Poncet Sr. tiptoeing in for a second. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Let's Toast Media. Coach Dave Davis, good to see you. So I just wanted to come on here to talk about a couple of the different sides. Okay, you know what? Do you feel bad for the Big 12 conference? No, I don't, because they had ample opportunity to prepare for this time. Now, I've heard, I read a clip today where the Big 12 may try to offer Texas and Oklahoma larger revenue shares than other schools in the Big 12 to entice them to stay. You should have been doing that 10 years ago. You knew this was an issue. You knew this was a probability, not a possibility, a probability, because it was already being talked about. All right. So from that standpoint, I don't get it. I don't get where people in my business are like, oh, this is terrible. No, it's not. It's been like this. This is the way it is. Okay. So Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC. Here's the biggest question, in my opinion. Jay Billis came on and said something that was very interesting. He said if he was the commissioner of the ACC conference, he would get on the phone with Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the Southeastern Conference, and try to make a merger because they have common footprints. They have common opponents, non-conference opponents. They do a lot of those things. They kind of intertwine sometimes, especially in basketball. So if Jim Phillips, the newly appointed commissioner of the ACC, gets with Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the Southeastern Conference, and they come together for a merger, that would be unbelievable. Because when the conference schools started merging 10 to 15 years ago, there was always a a vision of 4 major conferences. Now it looks like it might only be 2 or 3, because if the ACC and the SEC are going to merge, the Big 12 better be, the Big 10 better be on the phone with the Pac-12 ASAP. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't know if I got Oklahoma State fans on here, and, I hear some rumors about Oklahoma State wanting to come to the Big 10. Hell no. No. Get UCLA, get USC. I've been to Stillwater, Oklahoma, y'all. Ain't much in Stillwater. Get the Pac-12 teams in the Big 10. Don't mess with the Big 12. Although I think the most likely candidate, if there was a Big 12 team that's going to come to the Big 10, I think the most likely candidate is Iowa State. They already play Iowa every year, once a year. Their football program is elevated to the upper echelon of the Big 12 the last few years. Their basketball program had a tough year this past year, but historically, Iowa State is upper echelon of the Big 12 conference. And from a basketball conference standpoint, the Big 12 conference has been the best conference in the last decade in college basketball. So I'm hearing, I heard a blurb about Oklahoma State. I think the obvious choice, the first choice, if there was going to be a Big 12 team that's going to get an invite to the Big 10, it's going to be Iowa State. Let me see what you guys think. Illini fan 5, what's going on? Ron Tate 3, what's good? The beginning of the end to mid-major conferences. Kenny Williams. Now that's a good question, because Kenny Williams is a Hall of Fame player from University of Illinois, Chicago. This is a great question. But Kenny, I'll say there's always been has and have-nots in college athletics. And the fact that the viewing audience, or the fans, I should say, the fans of college athletics, the fact that we allow these programs of the institution that is the NCAA to try to govern a University of Illinois the same way they would govern a Western Illinois, or a Kennesaw State versus a Georgia. There's always been haves and have-nots. I don't think it'll be the end of mid-major conferences. I don't. I just think that there's going to be tiers. There's going to be financial tiers that are going to take place that probably should have been in place, in my opinion, all along. But, the NCAA, they had to do what they had to do to keep up the farce as long as they could until the Supreme Court slammed their ass 9-0. Low-key, the Big Ten can't compete with OU or Texas. But if they can win with basketball market, Kansas, Iowa State, West Virginia, and Cincinnati. Says Let's Toast Media. Okay, now that's interesting. The Big Ten can't compete with OU or Texas, but they can win with basketball market. Kansas, Iowa State, West Virginia, Cincinnati. Okay, OU looks dominant in the Big 12. Would Oklahoma be as dominant in the Big 10? And Texas, low-key, Big 10 can't compete with OU and Texas. I don't know what Texas program you've been looking at lately. That's not Texas and Oklahoma, in my opinion. Texas is Texas because of the money. Their last decade, their football program and their basketball program, they've just been middle of the road in the Big 12. They haven't dominated anything. Now, they're probably they're the wealthiest college sports program in the country. That's why Texas is moving to the SEC. Because right now, Texas is going to be at the bottom of the barrel. Oklahoma will be able to compete a little bit. But Texas right now in football, they won't be able. I don't know what you're talking about. Because that's football-wise, Texas will come to the Big Ten and get smashed. Straight out. And if Oklahoma came to the Big Ten football, it's not a cakewalk that they're going to just beat up on Michigan and Ohio State and Michigan State and an improved Indiana and a better a Wisconsin program that's not going to fade, an improving Minnesota program, a very consistent Iowa program. With Brett Bielema coming to the University of Illinois, they're going to be much improved. So Let's Toast Media. I don't know what you're thinking. I like it's a good conversation piece, but I don't know that I necessarily agree with you. Pierre Poncet Sr., multi-billion with a B, no doubt about it. It's a money grab. Let's call it what it is. It's fine. It's it falls right in line with the rest of what's going on in the free market society in the United States. It's no different. Zoomer Sports, what's good, man? Y'all go follow Zoomer Sports, man. I'm telling you, this young man is going to be a star in the industry. Texas in the SEC is 6-6 is a good record for them, says Zoomer Sports. I agree. I think when people hear Texas, they have this nostalgic Mac Brown in the heyday of Texas football. Vince Young, the Heisman Trophy winner, the quarterback. I think people still have that vision of Texas football. They're not that. Zoomer Sports says Texas is in the SEC is 6-6 is a good record for them. I agree. I think Texas gets smashed in the SEC right now. They just haven't been very good in football. They haven't been very consistent. So I think it's a hell of a move for Oklahoma and Texas basketball, though, to go to the SEC. I think it's a hell of a move. Charlie Deasy was good. Less tolerance for losing seasons in these power conferences, asked Kenny Williams. Kenny, I don't think there's any question about it. I think that now with the money that's going to be generated with Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC, the Big Ten, the Pac-12, they're not going to sit around and not move. They're not going to sit pat. Something's going to happen, right? And so with this increased pressure, with this increased money, I think we'll start to see coaches turn over kind of like we do in the NFL and the NBA. It's going to be much quicker turnover. If you even like think how hard it is, ladies and gentlemen, to take a football program and try to flip the roster and get it to your liking as a new coach. That generally takes 3 to 4 years. Kenny, some of these coaches may not get 3 to 4 years. They might get 2. They might get 3. But these boosters, these schools with these increased television network contracts and all these different things, there's going to be less patience. So that's a great point. Soul Sessions King. Oh, is that my man Alan King? If that is, that's one of the coldest DJs to do it right there. What's up, TF305? That's my man from Chi-Town on the West Coast. Some say it's the best coast. Vince Young, Ricky Williams, Earl Campbell's what people think of when they hear Texas football. Great point. They haven't played at Texas in over 2 decades. Zoomer Sports. Break it down. Break it down. Sid Kid 80 was good. Curtis Dietz says, call me old school, but I am not a fan of expansion. I like conferences being more geographical. Curtis, you know what? That's a comfort thing. That's a historical thing. I don't disagree with you. But long ago, I understood that this is a business. And so, the landscape was going to shift at some point. And now, all the facade, all the BS is taken away, and we're seeing college athletics for what it is. And so, yeah, there might be some nostalgia lost. There might be some natural rivalries lost, but they're always going to lose if there's a bigger bag to be secured. All these people are doing is securing the bag, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. And I don't know why people thought that college athletics was exempt from this. Well, maybe because of the marketing schemes that the NCAA was able to put a spell on people to convince them that this isn't business, but this is exactly what it is. It's nothing but business. Oh, let's be real. Kansas in the Big Ten for basketball would be awesome, says Zoomer Sports. I totally agree. It would elevate the Big Ten conference and hopefully get the Big Ten to understand that even though the Big Ten conference has teams that can score and get up and down the floor, it's still a little bit more physical, in my opinion, night in and night out in conference play than any other conference in the country. The Big 12 is awfully physical. The Big East the Big East may be more physical than Big 10, actually, night in, night out, maybe. But Kansas would be great inside of the Big Ten. I totally agree from a basketball standpoint. Let's see. But my sleeper would get Memphis too. Just think Michigan, Michigan State, Indiana versus Kansas and Memphis. Penny versus Juwan Howard, new blood. That would be interesting. University of Memphis would be interesting. Plus, I got family in Memphis, so I'd love the Big Ten to scoop up Memphis so I can go see my sister and brother-in-law and my people down in Memphis. I would love that. So I don't doubt you on that. A. Pierre Poncet Sr., the endowments for athletics at Texas and Oklahoma are so huge, they can go anywhere to hell they want and be welcomed with open arms. No question, Pierre. No, and that's what it is. C.Y. Markham, Io going to San Antonio. Oh, are you asking? Or are you throwing that out there, CY? Because the draft is Thursday. So if y'all want to have a draft watch party, let me know. We did that last year, and we had fun with it. We had a lot of fun with it. Expansion in March Madness. I hope not, Kenny Williams. I hope not. Leave the things alone. Sid Kid 80. Hey, Steven, keep up the great work on your tutorials for future color analysts. Thank you, Sid Kid 80. It's a passion play. I'm gonna be frank with you guys because my tribe is on here and my people are on here. I'm gonna be frank with you guys. Kwame Brown, when he became, he got a lot of exposure over the last few months. Something Kwame Brown said really opened my eyes. Kwame said, you will get guys that get into the television business that were former players that will not go back and tell anybody else how the hell they did it. They won't give them tips. They won't give them pointers. They won't reach back and help somebody come up into the business. Kwame Brown said that. And I'd already been thinking about trying to teach people to get into the business, but I thought, wait a minute. He's exactly right. When I wanted to go, I was fortunate enough to reach out to one of my mentors and friends, Clark Kellogg, and Clark Kellogg, being one of the best people on the planet, took as much time as I wanted to answer my questions and help me get into the business. I even went with his agent that he used. But if I didn't have Clark Kellogg, I don't know that I'd be where I am today. So Sid Kid 80, thank you for that. That's why I do those. I try to do them daily, the little tips for people getting into the color analyst business, because nobody does it. You can't be fearful in any career position, ladies and gentlemen. Although there are some dirty corporations that will make you train the person that is going to replace you. I'm aware that that's happening. But I have enough confidence in myself that I'm the best in the business. Okay? I'm the best color analyst in the business. I don't hesitate saying that. I believe that through and through. If I'm the best at it, I want other people to get in and have the opportunity to knock me off the top. And even if they do knock me off the top, I'm still in the business because I'm great at what I do. So there's no fear coming from me giving out these jewels to people that want to get in the business. Sid Kid 80, thank you so much. I've had a couple people come up to me and tell me how much they appreciate what I'm doing. So that's fuel for me. So thank you. Thank you very much. Let me get back to the conversation. Curtis Dietz. Okay, get Kansas and Iowa State for Big Ten basketball. Unfortunately, Curtis, we know this. Basketball doesn't really make the decision. Basketball is going to follow college football. Whatever college football is doing, college basketball will follow. So in a perfect world, yes. Oh, what's good, Larry Biddle? Good to see you on here. In Europe, the fans revolted when soccer powers wanted to establish a U.S.-style super league of the top teams. In European culture, the elites aren't allowed to chase the top dollar at the expense of the little guys' clubs. In the States, we allow money to dictate everything. It's just a matter of culture. Good point, Larry Biddle. Larry's referring to there was a super league that I think Manchester United, Barcelona, I can't pronounce this Greek team. There were some big teams that were trying to do a super league, and they weren't having it over there. And so Larry Biddle brings up a good point. It's just, we've lost the ability to, as a society in the United States, we've lost the ability to push back on things like this because we're so busy doing our own thing that we can't take time to come together collectively, be on the same page, have the same talking points, have the same things that we would like to get out of it and push. I mean, I'm seeing, I think today in Tunisia, there were yesterday in Tunisia, there were thousands of people that demonstrated in the streets and they got rid of the parliament. You'll never see that happen in the United States. But that's kind of what Larry Biddle's talking about. That's a great point, Larry. Thank you. Appreciate you, Stephen. The first team I thought of was Iowa State as a logical choice. Kenneth Nelson. Yeah, Kenneth, I think college football is going to push this. So the Big Ten is not going to be any different from anybody else. The Big Ten would love to get Notre Dame in, but Notre Dame doesn't want to seem to be in the Big Ten footprint. They're in the footprint, but they don't want to be in the conference for whatever reason. It's probably money. Okay, whatever, fine. But when you start to look at the possibilities, Big 12 teams are going to get rated. The American Athletic Conference will get rated. The Memphises, the Cincinnati's, they're always talked about, right? So it'll be interesting to see. Kenny Williams says create a Bardo broadcast team. Hey, not a bad idea, Kenny. You might be right. Zoomer Sports, thank you for that. Bardo's broadcasting tutorial TikTok series is awesome. Thank you, Zoomer. I appreciate that. Learn a lot from you, young man. Gage Spiegler, what's good? Superfly Films. Yeah, Roland. Good to see you, Roland Tree. Say it's been a while. Oh, wow. Okay, good question. Mr. Southside 05 asked, do the recruiting violations at some of these Big 12 schools concern you if they join the Big 10? No. I don't know of anybody in particular that's cheating openly in the Big Ten. I don't. But we'd be naive to think that it's not happening. That would be extremely naive. I don't know of any, like I said, I don't know of anybody. And even if I did, I probably wouldn't say it. But I don't know of anybody openly cheating or aggressively cheating in the Big Ten. But again, we would be foolish to think that it's not happening. Because if the Big 12, SEC, ACC, Pac-12, and Big 10 are all going after the same top-tier players, and you got some places that are cheating and some not, I don't know. Y'all figure that out. That's interesting, Mr. Southside 05. Hadn't heard that. Jeff Jarvis. Great question, Jeff Jarvis. What happens to the Longhorn Network? It goes away. Texas doesn't care about the Longhorn Network. It really hasn't been a financial boon like they thought it would be. I did some work earlier on the Longhorn Network when I was with ESPN. It was great in concept, but it didn't quite take off the way that I believe they thought it would. And I think one of the reasons they feel that this way, Jeff, is because they may not have thought they had sexy programs to go against night in and night out, right? So now if they're in the SEC, now think about this. Texas and Alabama. What network doesn't want that game? So I think the Longhorn Network goes away because whatever the Longhorn Network was going to bring Texas, Jeff, is pales in comparison to what the new TV deal that will pay the SEC once Oklahoma and Texas come on board. The Longhorn Network is probably just going to go away. I know this is a shot in the dark, but I would love to see Tennessee State and Howard join the Big Ten. I know it's a reach. Eddie George, former OSU. I went to Tennessee State. Okay, Dan, that's a reach because Let's Toast Media, all this stuff is money generated. That's it. And so, unfortunately, the historical black colleges, they just don't have the budgets. They don't have the markets either. They don't have the TV markets that these other Power 5 programs do. It would be cool to see, but yeah, it just, they don't match up. Hey, Dory Melman, Petsarillo or Petsario, good to see you. Derek Leonard says academically, is that Kansas State? Makes sense in the Big Ten. I think what Derek is talking about, there's an ACU designation to almost all of the Big Ten institutions. I believe Rutgers and Nebraska may not have it. And so I think that might be a signal that the Big Ten would still like to get, they would like to get academically strong programs, but if the money situation fits for the Big Ten, that ACU designation or accreditation may not make, it may not make as much sense, or it may not be as obvious. All right. All right, y'all. Let me get to my next topic, because man, y'all had a lot to say about that. Team USA loses again, this time to France. Mary Gertzmeyer, good to see you. M. Montel 638, what's good? Superfly Films. Illinois 22. Is that my boy Brad? Is that Brad Evans back there? If it is, what's up, Brad? Good to see you, brother. Maybe have the same system as European, where mid-major schools can upgrade to a power conference and the lower teams can go down. Kenny, that would be too much like making sense. You make too much sense, bro. That's why you can't Oregon College athletics. I know that sounds crazy, right? But it's the truth. Team USA loses again, this time to France. All right. So I've got a couple thoughts on this. I really want to get you guys' thoughts on this. Okay. You've got NBA players that played a condensed schedule that are now going over to play to what amounts to a bubble. So what happens in a bubble when there's no fans, you really see who wants to play. What you're seeing from the Team USA is that these guys, it doesn't mean as much. I know that hurts people's ears. It doesn't mean as much to represent the United States in Olympic play any longer. I'm going to say that again. The generation of athletes that have come through currently, it doesn't hold the same weight as it did 10 to 20 years ago, playing for the USA, Team USA. It doesn't mean as much because, one, you guys remember the horrific injury Paul George sustained in an exhibition game. You guys remember that, right? When he went down and it looked like his career might have been crushed or finished. When he had a gruesome foot and ankle injury. Remember, he got caught in the stanchion and it rolled and cracked and broke, and it was nasty. Ever since then, you will not see extra effort by a player from Team USA. They'll play, and it looks like they're playing hard. But Kenny Williams, other basketball players know there's a small percentage. If you're giving 96% and Luka Doncic and Slovenia are giving 99%, you're going to lose. Okay? So these NBA guys, they got $30, $40 million contracts. They're risking their financial livelihood to go play for Team USA. Right? These guys are savvy. These guys are really smart. They're businessmen. So if I'm over here, I'm just gonna kick it real. If I got a $25 million contract and I'm going into my contract year and I'm playing with Team USA and there's a loose ball and you glance and you look and you see some chairs and some tables and stuff like that, I'm not going for it. because I'm not risking my financial livelihood for this opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, don't kill the messenger. Just hear me out. Think about it. If your financial wherewithal or your financial stability and future is based on what you do in the NBA, and then you come over here to Team USA, are you really giving 110%? And can you really blame them? Okay, that's first. Second, I'm hearing a lot of criticism about Greg Popovich. He's 11-6 in international coaching. He's 6-3 when the games matter. All right. What Greg Popovich is trying to do is trying to have Team USA run the Spurs system, because you can't play an NBA style offense in the Olympics, because you can play zone defense. You can do a lot of different things that you can't do in the NBA. You can play zone defense in the NBA, but the way the NBA is spaced, they have the floor spaced so well, right? That the pick and roll and the one guy dominating the rock and all that, that generally does not work in international play. So what Popovich is doing, he's trying to force these guys who are used to, batting the rock for 10 seconds of possession. Now you got these guys trying to move. These guys they weren't taught that. Jason Tatum was not taught to move without the basketball. Dame Lillard is a hell of a point guard. He's not getting anybody else shots. He's not creating for anybody else. He gets some assists, but he's not a setup guy. He's not a Magic Johnson or Jason Kidd. He's a scorer. So now you've got Greg Popovich trying to run a system to get all these guys to move without the basketball and play in a system that they don't need. They don't play in that. They don't play in that type of system. Right? So I just think and then lastly, when you look at the composition of the team makeup, do you have any role players? Do you have guys that will come in and not necessarily look to score, but set a screen, get to the rim, play some defense? Do you have that? And is it time now for the U.S. to say, you know what? We're going to take, if you're in your first 3 years of the NBA, we're going to take first, second, or third year NBA players. That's it. Because you can't expect the Dame Lillards, the Kevin Durants, the LeBron Jameses. You can't expect them to come into an Olympic situation and possibly get an injury that will mess up $100 million. It doesn't make sense. And the lure to do it for Team USA is not there any longer, ladies and gentlemen. Again, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you what it is. So the team makeup is not what it needs to be. So the next time around, if Greg Popovich is going to be the coach and he wants to play a style that's more conducive for ball movement, player movement, get younger players. I'd even get some college guys, seriously. And you know what? You may take an Olympic or two and lose, but you're not jeopardizing NBA superstars. You're getting some NBA guys and you're getting some college guys. And if they can come together in a more of a system where every summer they come and play some exhibition games, they work out together, whatever, they get a feel like these other teams have, like France has when they come back in the summer, right? Like Canada does. Like you see Nigeria has some success. Australia is balling because these guys come back in the summer. That's what I think Team USA should do. Let me see for my people here. Carol Poe Paquette says, just want to say hi, I'm on my way to the dock. All right. Appreciate you, Carol. Getting mad that you are making too much sense, says Jordan. I'm sorry, man. I like to talk about sensitive topics because I think it needs to be talked about. And we shy away from it because we have strong feelings around these particular topics, but this is a forum that we can talk about it, right? But thank you for that, man. I appreciate that. Joe Stovall, tribe member, always come strong. Team USA is losing. Team USA losing is what David Stern envisioned when he agreed to allow NBA players to play in Barcelona. Now that the game is a global game, more people are watching and playing internationally. Gold medals are for those who don't have any gold. If you want a national team, create one. Pay them and allow them to play games in the G League and exhibitions in the NBA until international events are scheduled. I'm telling y'all, Joe Stovall comes with some of the best ideas. He and Kenny Williams. That's an excellent idea. There needs to be some financial incentive for these guys to risk their livelihoods or their futures. Joe, you're spot on with that, brother. I appreciate you. Anastasia Walker, tribe member. If you're concerned with your financial livelihood, why play? You can't have it both ways, especially when other pros from other countries are playing. Either you play or you stay. Okay, Anastasia. That's a very good point. Do you think any of these guys, do you think any of these NBA guys would be playing on the Olympic team if there was not pressure? If there was not behind the scenes pressure from Adam Silver, from Jerry Colangelo, who I think may still be over Team USA, from politicians, United States politicians, don't think that they don't have something to do with NBA players playing over there. Team USA, regardless of the sport, wants to see dominance. Team USA in the Olympic situation wants to dominate some sport. It used to be basketball. And so now there's pressure on NBA guys to play in the Olympics. So if I'm at Anastasia makes a great point, and I think Joe Stovall's point, addresses some of that. Create a national team, pay them, set up things that can be fulfilled. Leon Rogers, what's good, bro? Good to see you. The Destin legend just joined the 50-year-old club. Love you, bro. So yeah, Anastasia, why play? Because they're being pressured to. You think Kevin Durant, with his fragile ass, you think he wants to play in the Olympics? He's got enough endorsement money. He needs to go back to the Brooklyn Nets and figure out how to keep everybody healthy. Leon Rogers says Team USA stinks. I wouldn't go that far, Leon, because I think they're going to make they should get out of group play just from an embarrassment situation. They don't want to be embarrassed to not advance past group play. I think you'll see them advance. But get to the medal round, it might be a little tricky. Rev Jojo LC was good. Chris Hill says, good point, but aren't other NBA players from foreign countries risking the same, especially the stars like Luka, for example? Correct, Chris, but you're trying to put other countries on the level of the United States. And let's just be real. Is there pride in this country with all the athletes over there from the Team USA? Are they really happy about where our country stands and how some of our citizens are treated? I don't know, but I do know this, that there for Evan Fournier, who Leon Rogers pointed out dropped 28 on Team USA. There's a lot more national pride with Evan Fournier than it is with Kevin Durant. I'll put money on that. There's a lot of things that go along with what's happening with the Olympic situation right now that's not being talked about. The unrest in our country over the last year or two, people being out of work, inflation rising, I'm sure some of these things are happening in other countries, but there's a lot there. So Chris, I love that you brought this up, because That right there could be a whole nother show, right? But thank you, Chris, as always, tribe member. Haven Mosley, another tribe member. You can tell it doesn't mean as much. They just got done protesting not even a year ago. They're just in Japan hanging out for real. Haven Mosley, hey, think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Think about this. Devin Booker and Drew Holiday, the very last thing they wanted to do was get on a 13-hour flight and go to Tokyo and try to integrate themselves with this team. Their bodies are worn out. They're emotionally spent. They're physically spent. And yet we expect them to come halfway around the world after playing in a wonderful finals. That was a great finals between Phoenix and Milwaukee, by the way. Great finals. They gave everything they had in that finals. Then we expect them to come over to Tokyo when there's no juice in the buildings because they don't have fans. There's no spectators. You're back in a bubble. So when you're physically, emotionally drained, you're supposed to somehow reach down and get something. I don't see it. The killers ain't there. Bron, Curry, Irvin, Harden, they lacking. Okay, Leon Rogers is talking about the best of the best aren't there for a reason, Leon. Because and it doesn't mean as much to play for Team USA as it did 15, 20 years ago. It just doesn't. Davis, Zion, they didn't send the best. Leon Rogers is right. Coach Pop has to check these young players' egos, play international ball, not NBA ball. Good luck, Rev, JoJo LC, with that. You think Pop can get Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum and Damian Lillard? You think they could check them? No. Ain't no checking getting done over there. The only checking that I think is going to happen is that this will be Greg Popovich's last go-round as coach of Team USA. They're going to have to get somebody else in with a different system. And it doesn't have to necessarily totally abandon the ball movement, player movement situation, but it's got to incorporate some of the things that NBA players are used to doing a little bit more, in my opinion. Who that is? Maybe Rick Carlisle. I don't know. Tyronn Lue. Maybe Nate McMillan. Could be, I don't know. Take your pick. Could be Frank Vogel. But get somebody in there that doesn't totally abandon player and ball movement, but also gives the big dogs, Durant, Booker, these guys, some space to create. Now, I don't know how that looks, but I just think that's a part of the issue. Derek Leonard says, I think the other countries' national teams play better as a team despite Team USA having superior talent, like the Illini playing Loyola Chicago in March Madness. Drop the mic on that, Derek Leonard. Great call. Just because you have more talented players, and let's be honest, Chris Broussard said this. I'm going to give him total credit. He said, if I have better talent and you have lesser talent, even though you've got 4 or 5 guys, Team Nigeria, I believe, has 7 or 8 guys that are playing in the NBA, right? Even if you have these guys, generally speaking, when Team USA goes up against another team, Team USA is the more talented team. So what happens then? If they're more talented, they may not be playing up to their potential. If they're not playing up to potential, the coach isn't getting through to them. And unfortunately, that comes back on Greg Popovich. So Slovenia, Luka Doncic goes nuts. 48 points, second most in NBA Olympic play ever, I believe. Joe Ingles in Australia, outstanding team. Canada, Spain, all these teams are outstanding with NBA players, but are they as talented as Team USA? No. So to me, that points back to Greg Popovich and Team USA needing a different scenario. And there are rumblings out of Tokyo that these guys are they don't want to play in the system. And it sounds like insubordination, but it's not. You're having NBA guys do stuff that they're not used to doing. So it's not matching up. More talented players does not mean more talented team. Great. Okay, Kenny, you knew where I was going with that, but thank you. You're right. So Derek Leonard, spot on. Curtis Dietz. The Team USA was put together last minute. In past years, wasn't there a 2-year commitment? This team won't even medal. I do believe, Curtis, there was a 2-year commitment previously. So that's a very good point. We do have a ton of players not playing for injuries and rest purposes. Injuries and rest purposes. I'll give you that. So I'm gonna wrap up on that. Wait a minute. I got to get to some of my tribe members because they coming strong here. All the other teams have professionals with $1 million contracts too. Not as big, but generational wealth nonetheless. The biggest problem this year is the timing. Very good point, Larry Biddle. USA didn't have enough time to develop a team. Also, the athleticism gap with the rest of the world is much smaller, and the three-point shot trumps high-flying athleticism. When we don't make threes, we're likely to lose. Great points all the way around, Larry Biddle. Let me see. Coach Dave Davis says, the bullseye is on the back of Team USA. Even famous NBA players that play internationally on their home country Olympic team grew up thirsty to beat Team USA. That's a great point. U.S. players don't grow up chomping to take a swing at any other country's national team. They have to play at a very high level every night because you get everyone else's best game. And no one's talking about that, Coach Davis. You're exactly right. Maybe the rest of the world has caught up to Team USA. They're still the top dog. They were still the number one ranked team coming into this tournament. Maybe they shouldn't have been. Team Spain is number 2. Maybe they should have been the top seed. But Coach Dave Davis makes a great point. And until the guys, do they care even that Team USA has a bullseye on their back? I don't think so. Negro League, Dante was good. Should have sent the young dogs out there. Trade Donovan Fox. Hey, I agree. Where is Zion Williamson hurt? Because see, he's the type of undersized athletic freak that would give overseas team or other Olympic teams problems, in my opinion. What's up, Great Boy Saul? Thank you, brother. BJ330. We're the best in the world. Don't care how many nations have caught up as a whole. We have better coaches and players, says Leon Rogers. Yeah, Leon, but if we got better coaches and players, why don't we win the gold every year? Why is this team getting their ass kicked? This is my brother from another mother, y'all. We had a very successful sports talk show in Chicago called Sports Unplugged. Should have never ended and should be national right now. Leon Rogers, Scoop Jackson, and yours truly. We broke the sports down, right? And Leon Rogers is a radio personality, TV personality. This is James Brown of the entertainment business. But this dude is a serious sports dude. He's a sports nut. He knows sports like I'm a sports dude. Leon's like comedy, music, entertainment. Shit, he knows sports like I do. We should have never not. Like, we should be on a national platform because Leon's one of the funniest comedians in the business, and he knows sports. So, my man, thanks for jumping in and chiming in, Leon. We need to do this more often, brother. Al with Alan Powell Show. What's up, Al? Facebook, I won't repeat what my people on IG see what Leon said, but y'all know Leon Rogers. That's my man, but he don't care. That's why I love him. He'll say the truth quicker than I will because he don't care. Yeah, Larry Biddle makes a good point. When Coach K was the coach of Team USA, they had no issues. Somehow the system, somehow he got the team on the same page. Now, that was before all this civil unrest. That was before COVID. That was before a lot of stuff has happened in the last 3 or 4 years in this country since the last Olympics. Rev Jojo LC, I'm trying to bring the food show back ASAP. You know, we're having some issues with the guy that shoots and edits our show. He's a rock star. Nick is a rock star. So he's kind of busy. He's going to make some time for me. But the other, my business partner bought a house. He's doing a bunch of stuff. So the timing is not quite together yet. But I'm trying to get something done in August. So we'll see. But thank you for that inquiry. Yep. You're right, Sid Kid 80. It was. Alan Powell show, have different countries caught up? Of course they've caught up. I know Leon Rogers doesn't think they've caught up, but the rest of the country, the rest of the world is caught up. They know how to play. They're fundamentally sound. They shoot the three. They can defend. They play together. They caught up. South Lane Gridiron, what's good? Okay, Rev Jojo LC. I'm glad you visited some of those places because, you know, we're not going to send you to any places not great food. So thank you for sharing that, man. I appreciate that. KD is not a leader. He can't be looked to lead a team and help the players into roles. Spot on, Dante. He's not. Kevin Durant's he's an assassin. He's a hired assassin. Kevin, go get me, 35 and a winning bucket. He's the best in the game at that. But to be a leader, I totally agree. Anastasia Walker says, as a 50-year-old, I remember when Team USA was the shiznit and the pros were killing each other to be on the team. This is a generational issue if you got to pressure folks to play in the Olympics right now. Okay, Anastasia, this is not going to sound like it's related, but it's related, okay? When Naomi Osaka pulls out of the French Open, or when Naomi Osaka puts on Breonna Taylor, Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland. She put on 7 different masks at the U.S. Open. And Tom Rinaldi, in his interview, says, well, so Naomi, what message did you want to get across? And you know what Naomi Osaka told him, Anastasia? What did you get from it? Because I know what I'm doing, but what did you get from it? What's the message that you received? Because I know what I'm doing, right? So when you talk about being 50 plus, and you remember pros trying to get on Team USA, begging to get on the team, how long ago was that? So what I'm saying is Kevin Durant, LeBron James, this era are more like Naomi Osaka. They have some social consciousness, right? And so they're being coerced by their agents, by their financial people, by Adam Silver, by Team USA to be on Team USA. They're getting pressure because if it was up to them, they wouldn't go. They would not play. I guarantee you that. They're getting advised to do this from a financial standpoint. That's it. That's it. So is it a generational issue? Yeah, but it's not it's not the generational issue, Anastasia, where I'm just going to dog this younger generation out. No, I love them. Right? They've got different things that matter way more than what mattered to pros 20 years ago. It's not, we're not in the same world. 20 years ago, folks were brainwashed because the internet wasn't here. You couldn't get information, alternate information like you get now. You couldn't see Al Jazeera online like you can now. So it's a different world. I don't want to just put it on a generational issue, because I love the way these young people, because let's be honest. Let's be honest. Right? The Jordan era, you leave the Jordan era, the Magic era, the Bird era, they're about the bag. Because their predecessors weren't getting the bag. They were about getting the bag, right? So you got little LeBrons, Stephs, the next great generation are seeing these pros get the bag. They're not stepping up on, Jordan was asked to endorse Harvey Gantt in North Carolina. He was like, well, Republicans buy Nikes too. And that's not a knock on Jordan, but that's how that athlete at that time thought. They don't think like that now, because they've got a lot more money is at stake. And so I don't want to just put it off as a generational issue. I want to say that the world is a lot different than it was when NBA players were dying to get to the Olympics. Love you, Anastasia. Man, my tribe, if you want to join the tribe, which is the inner circle of Bardo's Breakdown, text me to 312-847-2739. 312-847-2739 if you want to be on the inner circle of the tribe. All of these people that have come on today and have really had some strong opinions are part of the tribe. This is how we get down on this forum. So we like to talk about things that a lot of people don't like to talk about. And we like to have open, positive discussion. Because if we can share great ideas, I learn from my tribe as much as I give, right? I think the reason that this situation works is because I don't have all the answers. I learn from you all. And I like your strong stances. And I like when you take my strong stances, because you may not agree, but it's all love in the end. Because we're trying to get more educated on this platform. That's why I do it. Giannis is the only killer on Greece. No country has the wealth of talent the USA has. I would agree, Leon, but the rest of the world is caught up. Because like Kenny Williams said, you might have the best talent. That don't mean you're the best team. You might have the best talent, but if you don't win the game, what difference does it make? So I do think the rest of the world, in terms of competition and play, have caught up to the United States. Lucas said it's easier to score in the NBA than in Europe. Southland gridiron, totally right. Because the NBA is designed to score points. It's not designed for defense. The NBA is outlawed. They've legislated defense out of the game. But in Europe, you can be very physical with guys on the ball. The game is physical. It's a lot more physical, believe it or not, than the NBA game. So when Luka Doncic says it's easier to score in the NBA than it is in Europe, I believe him, because I played over in Europe. I believe him. All right, y'all. These countries enjoy playing with each other. Yes. Yes, Dante. The NBA rules have softened them up. Yes. Haven Mosley, you're right. It's a generational issue. Technology has made the world a lot smaller. We can talk to Stephen Bardo in real time or reach out and talk to whoever now and see whatever we want now. Exactly. It's a different era, different time. Boy, you guys are great. Anastasia Walker. This is going to be the last question I answer, because this is a great one. Has the NBA lost its way? Anastasia, I don't think so. Oh, Brendan Haywood, what's up, big fella? Y'all go check out B Wood 33, man. This guy has more fun on the air than anybody I've seen. I like to have fun, smile, and joke. This dude is hilarious. He might miss his calling. Brendan, thanks for jumping on, man. We're talking about Team USA and their struggles. I'm about to wrap it up here. Has the NBA lost its way, Anastasia Walker? No, the NBA is about money. And what happened was, John Sally said this on an interview, and I thought it was spot on. The NBA was made for the Chinese consumption, for the Chinese market consumption. When Yao Ming used to play for the Houston Rockets, the NBA would get 300 million viewers from China alone. So the population of the United States was watching Yao Ming when he was playing for the Houston Rockets. When the NBA saw that, they wanted to make the game more to the liking for the Chinese market. It's the biggest market in the world. What do you see in the Chinese market? You don't see players arguing with refs. You see you see more free-flowing game. You will see NBA refs call text quick. There used to be some banter back and forth between players and officials. Not anymore. They're trying to make the game more palatable for China. They don't care, they care about the United States, but the NBA has always been about expanding their market. So their biggest priority is offshore, not on U.S. soil. It's off U.S. soil. And that's why in what John Sally said made total sense to me. That's when the game changed to make it more palatable for overseas markets to watch the game. Make sense? All right, y'all. I got to run. Been on here an hour. Didn't want to go more than an hour. Love y'all. Thanks so much for jumping in. Love you guys. Have a great rest of the week. Let me know if you want to have a watch party on draft night. I'd love to. Thank you so much, guys. Talk to y'all later. Peace.